Hi there. Thank you so much for volunteering with People and Pollinators Action Network, or as we like to say, PPAN for short. We really could not do this work without you, so really just thank you so much. My name is Anna Gray, and I am our Community Engagement Manager. And I wanted to take a moment to go over exactly how to represent PPAN at the table. I'll go over some typical blurbs I like to say and some of the common materials and handouts we'll typically have at the table. So first, I usually like to give a brief overview of what PPAN is. So I'll say something like, we're People and Pollinators Action Network, or PPAN. We're a state-based nonprofit focused on pollinator protection and human health. And we really do a lot of policy work, habitat creation, and community education and outreach. You can also tell them you're a volunteer working at the table and any other relevant information about the event you're working. Really just whatever feels natural to you when you're first talking to someone. So now I'll go over some of our common event materials. The first is the native plant recommendation list. So I typically say something along the lines of, do you like to garden? Do you have a yard? This is my favorite handout of ours. It's a native plant recommendation list. So all of these plants are native to Colorado, and this list will tell you what pollinators each plants attract, how much shade or sun it needs, how big it grows, if it's pet safe, and more. And yeah, this is a really good handout to just give people. They really like this one. Another handout that will also be at the table is the pollinator license plate postcard. They both might be there. It might be one or the other. People are attracted to different styles of this one. So anyways, I'll say this is for the Protect Pollinators license plate. There's a QR code and a link on the back to get the plate. PPAN actually passed the legislation for the plate back in 2021. And it's a minimum $25 one-time donation. The majority of those donations from getting the license plate go directly to our small grants program called the Protect Our Pollinators Habitat Fund. And this small grants program creates pollinator-friendly habitat throughout the state. So really, by getting this pollinator license plate, not only are you spreading the word about pollinator protection, but you're also helping create pollinator habitat. And then another thing we will have is our newsletter sign up, which will typically be on a clipboard like this. So I'll usually encourage folks to sign up by telling them it's the best way to stay up to date with any policy action we're taking, or webinars, or plant swaps, or whatever other events that we're having. And anything else that they're expressing interest in, you can say, sign up for our newsletter, and it'll keep you up to date with those things. For instance, if someone is interested in the grant program that you mentioned because of the license plate, you can tell them to sign up for the e-news, and they'll be notified of when grant applications open. Another thing that will be at the table is the Pollinator Safe Property Pledge. So this is just, if you get talking to pesticides about someone and native plants and really gardening, you can say, we have this Pollinator Safe Property Pledge. It basically says, you're going to eliminate the use of pesticides in your yard, and we'll put you on a public map if you want, but there's no public information that's shared. And so, yeah, people will sign it, and then you can cut this part off. There'll be some scissors in the event kit. You can cut this part off, and the people who signed it can keep the top half, and then the bottom half you'll keep to give to us at PPAN. Another thing with the Pollinator Safe Property Pledge that might be at the table is the More Play, Less Spray door hanger. And this again is just about reducing pesticide use on your own property, and alternatives to pesticide use, like weed management and pests and that sort of thing. And we make it a door hanger for a reason. So if the person is, if you're feeling the person, you can say, yeah, maybe if you can take a few, it's a door hanger if your neighbor needs a nudge. And then also, sometimes we'll have our Pollinator Safe Habitat sign at the table. And this is a suggested $10 donation. We are technically not allowed to sell stuff. So if people don't give a donation or give a donation less than $10, that's fine too. But be sure to say, if someone's interested in this yard sign, to say, it's a suggested $10 donation. It has a nice QR code so people can learn more about pollinator safe habitat. So those are the basic materials that will typically be at the table. All of them may not be on there. There might be some other ones that whoever is staffing the table can tell you about. But anyways, once you're done with the event, first, congrats, thank you so much. 2, take a photo or scan the newsletter sign-up sheet and the Pollinator Safe Pledge sign-ups and send those to our email, to me or to Info or Joyce or whoever, and we will put those in our system. And then if you want to give event materials back, you can. Otherwise, hang on to them for the next event that you want to volunteer for. Feel free to email us with any feedback you have on the event and how you experienced the table, anything that could be improved, any fun stories or anything like that. And then some general tips for the table. So our business card will probably be on the table. And you can always give someone our business card and tell them to email us if there's a question you don't know the answer to. For instance, there's a lot of specific questions people have about plants that I won't even know the answer to, and I'll say, here, please take our card and email us about this, and we can definitely get you in touch with someone who knows the answer. Another tip is to be friendly and personable. People really like connecting over a specific passion or story. For instance, I once saw a volunteer connect with someone over a shared love of a specific plant that they both really, really liked. So yeah, people love telling their stories. They love hearing your stories. It's really just talking to people at the end of the day. And you don't have to say what I've said in my examples word for word. You can put these programs and handouts and things into your own words. For instance, if there's a particular part of the plant list that you really like or a plant that you love on there, feel free to mention that. It's also best practice to go over the event materials and take a closer look at them before the event to familiarize yourself a little bit better. And then my email and our staff email is always open if you have any questions about volunteering, and always happy to hop on a Zoom call for further volunteer training. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching and for volunteering, and yeah, we're so grateful. Thank you.